Welcome back to Top 5 Repairs. If you recently detailed your engine or you had your engine wash and it's starting to misfire or the engine won't start, here is the issue. The first common reason why the engine is running poorly or idling poorly is going to be caused by wet ignition coil. If water got on ignition coil, this is going to cause the engine to misfire due to lack of spark. So make sure to remove the ignition coil and use compressed air and blow out the water and the spark plug tube. Also, make sure to dry out the connection as well. The next likely problem is water got inside the intake. If water got inside the intake, water is going to go straight into the combustion chamber and it's going to fall out the spark plug. And if too much water got inside the combustion chamber, it's going to cause the engine to hydrolock. To remove water from the combustion chamber, all you have to do is remove all the ignition coil and remove all the spark plugs. Next, crank the engine. When you crank the engine, all the water is going to shoot out of the combustion chamber, and that's going to help dry out the inside of the engine. Or you can use compressed air and blow out water inside the combustion chamber. The next likely problem is the mass airflow sensor got wet. If water got inside the intake, it's going to wet the hot wire on the mass airflow sensor, and this can cause the mass airflow sensor to cause the engine to run rough, and it can also cause hard starts. So all you have to do is let the mass airflow sensor dry for a few hours, and that should fix the issue. The next likely issue is the camshaft position sensor connection got wet. If the connection got wet, this can cause the camshaft sensor to not work properly. You'll experience rough idle and long crank time when trying to start your engine. The next likely issue is maybe water got inside a fuse box and it caused a fuse to blow. If a fuse got blown somewhere, that is affecting the starting system. Again, your engine is not going to start. So make sure to use a test light and check for blown fuses. If the engine is not cranking for some reason, you might want to check the starter. Maybe too much water got on the starter and maybe it's causing the starter to short out and not work properly. So you can remove the starter and let it dry out for a few hours or a day or two, and hopefully the starter is not the issue. If you use a pressure washer to clean the engine, that can cause connection to come loose. Check for loose fuel injector connection. Check for loose ignition coil connection. Check for loose camshaft position sensor connection. Check for loose coolant temperature sensor connection, and so on. Next, maybe you have a parasitic drain. If you got water all over the engine, maybe it activated something and caused something to turn on, and that might be draining your battery. To check if you have a parasitic drain, disconnect the battery negative terminal and use a test light. If the test light turns on, then you know you have a parasitic drain. The reason why this test light is on is because I left the door open. And lastly, if you can't find out what the problem is, maybe the computer got wet and it got shorted. So check for U codes. If you're getting U codes, then you know you have a computer issue. I hope you found that video useful. As always, thank you for watching and subscribe to Top 5 Repairs.